r/AskReddit NSFW. What was the most porno situation you've ever had? Backstory: I met this girl on Tinder and she in her profile he said deadass looking for dude friends. Nothing romantic. I took this quite literal and we became friends. About 2 weeks after meeting her, she called in a panic and asked me to come over and check her attic because she was hearing noises from up there. Being the only guy that she was friends with in the area, new grad student, I came over. Naturally, those spooky ghosts left ectoplasm everywhere. I told her that for future reference, if she wanted fuck, she could just ask. Shoulder pulled a power move and showed up with the whole Ghostbusters costume. We came. We saw. We f***ed her ass. In college I lived with 2 other guys in one apt and my dog, and the apartment below us was 3 girls. I talked to one of the girls since we had a class together. One fall break I stayed in town to work as I didn't have a job back home. So did this girl. Well, one day I'm at work and had to stay late, but also had to let my dog out. So I texted my neighbor if she was available, if she could get my hider key and let my dog out. She asked what she'd get in return. Jokingly, as she loved my dog, I forgot what exactly I said, but I was somewhere along sexual favors. To which she replied okay. And for the remainder of the year we would just text each other to come upstairs or downstairs to hook up. Don't think that'll ever happen again. Man's best friend. Played Monopoly with my girlfriend at the time, and she was losing really bad. So she tried to seduce me into giving her better trade deals. I obviously denied and continued to dominate her in Monopoly until she just flipped the board. And then we f***ed anyways. Win-win for me. Lol, got the back-to-back wins. I was on a school trip to New York City and we were in a very crowded elevator consisting of people from my class and people from a class coming from another school. As we were going to my destination, the girl in front of me started backing up into my junk while she was speaking to her friends. I thought that maybe it was unintentional since the elevator was so packed, so I tried my best to shift my legs so she wasn't straight up crushing my dick with her ass. As I started to move around she would move around with me, and 8th grade me was having trouble keeping his hormones in check. Eventually the elevator door opened and it let us all off. As we were getting off, I saw her walking with her friends. She turned around, smiled and winked at me, then proceeded to walk away with her friends. This all happened at the Holocaust Museum. Putting "this all happened at the Holocaust Museum" at the end of a story should be a thing. I could see it becoming a meme. It's true. I was the museum. I used to work in IT, and an office manager asked me to stop by his house to look at his home computer. I knew from several people in the office that his wife did amateur porn. She answered the door in a bathrobe and I said, "I'm here to fix your computer." And she replied, "I've been expecting you. Come on in." Turned out to be a DNS issue. So I just set it to 8 and that resolved the issue. "I've been expecting you. Come on it." Well, that was direct. In college, and it was my 21st birthday party, celebrating at my house off campus. Girls from other colleges were there. The night was over, and I was sleeping in my room when a girl I knew from another school came in. 20 minutes later we are having sex. Her friend, female, walks in and sees and we stop. But in my most Parker Lewis can't lose moment ever I say, "Are you just gonna stand there or take your shirt off?" She laughs, closes the door behind her, then takes her shirt off and joins in. Best birthday ever. You wouldn't know her. She goes to a different school. I used to work at a restaurant and a colleague of mine slipped, spilling all the drinks over me as I was trying to catch her. Since my boss lived above the restaurant, he offered me to take a shower upstairs to clean myself up. I gladly accepted. However, this was never communicated to his wife. So she thought her husband was in the shower and decided to surprise him. So she snuck into the bathroom. It didn't have a lock. Got naked and pulled the shower curtains open in one quick motion while striking a pose. To her surprise, it wasn't her husband that was showering. It was me. I also happened to be facing the shower curtain as she pulled it open. We both froze for a couple seconds and locked eyes. She closed that curtain as fast as she opened it and apologized about 100 times on her way out of the bathroom. I just started laughing when she had left and fully realized what had just happened. I finished my shower, went back downstairs, and told my boss what happened. He bursted out laughing and asked if I liked what I saw. I answered with a yes, got a pat on the back and just went back to work. Me and my boss's wife never talked about it, but my boss would sometimes tease his wife with it when only us three were present. TL. Doctor, got to see my boss's wife full naked while taking a shower. Gotta say, baller move telling him straight up that you liked what you saw, haha. To be fair though, what could he say? My neighbor locked herself out of her townhouse dorm over winter break. I was the only other resident living in the complex at the time. The resident assistant who had a master key bailed to his girlfriend's place 4 hours away and wouldn't be back for another 2 days, but said he may return sooner. If we called the building director, the neighbor would be fined $200 for losing her keys and the RA whom we all liked would be fired. Offered Lydia, the neighbor, the option of hanging out, since it was a townhouse and there was room. She said she would hang out until she could find somewhere else to go and made a few phone calls that went unanswered. Ordered pizza and watched a movie that evening until she fell asleep on the couch. I put a pillow under her head and a blanket over her and went to bed. Woke up with her next to me in the morning. Spent the next 2 days intermittently having sex, watching movies and making meals. She had this thing about hanging out in only t-shirts, underwear and socks. It seemed like every meal prep was interrupted by us having to put things on simmer and go have sex. Perfection. GIF. Best friend got married just after college. Got paired with someone in the wedding party I had never met. While driving this older Jewish grad student to the bride's parents' place to the after party, she remarks, "I'm glad you know how to drive a stick, because this is the only stick I can drive." And reaches over and grabs my junk for the rest of the ride. We banged all over 2 different rooms and a living room sectional that night, while everyone was passed out all over the house. I got laid before the groom did that night. I can drive stick, but have yet to have my stick driven. I was on a date last week with a very attractive girl. Great body, gorgeous face, very hot. We are nearing the end of dinner and we start talking about sex and other atypical first date dinner conversation stuff. I don't know what I said, but she kind of just paused for a second, looked at me seductively, and said, "Would you like to go back to my place and eat my pussy?" My jaw dropped. Never had that one happen before and probably never will again. Welsh stupid, cause you just ate dinner. Yeah, but I didn't have dessert. Complimented a girl on how amazing her boobs are while in the restroom. Proceeded to show me and let me touch them. It was an interesting experience. She has the most beautiful aqua eyes. You think she would have let you touch her eyes? The carpenter renovating my room thought I was gay. I'm a straight guy. We were alone in the house. I finished taking a shower and was only in my towel, and I innocuously analyzed his shirtless torso in all its glory, wondering what routine is he doing in the gym. Maybe I was staring too hard. He then approached me and tried to make out with me. I pushed him and laughed and said no. He said he thought I wanted to have sex with him with all the stares I was giving him. Lesson learned, to be more aware how I'm staring at people. What routine was he doing? He was into calisthenics, STUFF-DITMISSED. Opportunity to say me. Apostrophe. Ain't nothing wrong with mirroring games. go for a walk in the park, and get pulled into the trees to have sex cause we couldn't wait to get home. What park did you go to? I'll make a note to avoid it, and its rappy trees. Gives a whole new meaning to getting wood. It was the giving tree. Delivered pizza to a hotel, where a drunken orgy was going on. Customer gestured to me, 19-year-old nerd girl, mousy and unattractive. Then to the scene, which included a guy snorting coke off a stripper's back, and asked, "Wanna play?" Turned him down, because I was more concerned about paying rent. Also turned down his tip offer of a baggie of cocaine. He tipped me $50, though, so that was cool. I've heard drunken parties are the easiest way to get tips. They commonly give you money to keep quiet about the illegal things they do. Thanks for tip. Time to go tell my old pal Reddit. But don't worry, Reddit keeps secrets. Pub. Married couple sit down and start talking about a threesome with me, how they have done it before. I was young and dumb and got weirded out and left. She was hot too. Yes, but was the guy hot? Asking the real questions. My friend called me to ask if I could help her change the shower head. Sure. No biggie. Then after I do it, she asks if I want a massage. I'm laying on my stomach and next thing I know she's topless giving me a massage and things went from there. So were you getting the massage before you realized she was topless? She took off her shirt while I was being massaged and face down. I didn't notice until I rolled over. That's nice. Really nice. My coworker came to my office and said, "Come with me." She starts leading me down to the basement where there's never any other people. Turns out she just needed me to carry something heavy. Oof. Better than getting murdered. Mate. Is it too much to ask for both? Years ago, had a female friend ask me for assistance with math homework at 10 PM on a Tuesday night. Just the two of us at her place. I figured this was my lucky day. Given that I wasn't particularly good at math, that it would be easy enough to just reach out to one of the tutors or something, and that I lived 10 miles away from campus. She could have honestly asked anyone else who lived on campus. So I assumed this as a booty call, lead by instinct alone. I hightailed it 10 miles from my house up to campus in the middle of the night on a weekday. I could hardly contain my disappointment when she actually needed help with some math homework. Ended up staying until 1 in the morning trying to wrap my head around some asinine stat homework before heading back home, just to enjoy 4 hours of sleep before my 8 AM. Who for much needed reality check in this thread. Burning Man. Entered a tiny geodesic done with a girl. 2 girls in bikinis followed us in and literally sat down and spread her legs wide open at me, grinning. I probably would have done the thing, but the girl I was with was not into it. To be fair, you dodged a burning sandpaper. Dust, not sand. But the #1 medical affliction, because it is alkali dust, yeast infections. My mom hired a guy to build us a deck and I saw him looking at me through my upstairs window on the first day. He was super hot and Russian, and the idea of us being alone and him working while I brought him drinks and snacks, already knowing what was gonna go down, me being an 18-year-old, was already sold into the idea of screwing this contractor. We on the last day of installation. He was a goodlie, but the deck turned out like shit. That's so disappointing. I hate it when a contractor does bad work. And f my kids. That's not the position I hired you for. You've reached the end. You're a star. Destroy the subscribe button for more like that.